Hola, boa noite. Munson here with the Good Morning Portugal Wine Club, the first Monday of the month, which means the Wine Ninjas, the GMP Wine Ninjas, gather and share their most recent point of interest in the wine world with you. And tonight we are looking, this is Garvo's suggestion, an interesting, unusual, or funny named wine from any region. So it's quite a wide brief this evening, and I think there are a lot of suspects to choose from. As you'll see on the screen there, Licor de Merda would have been a notable selection this evening. It's a confusing one, that Licor de Merda and Licor de Leite. It's a mixture there. But I don't know if any of the Wine Ninjas have that this evening. Let's find out, shall we? And we will go to Al Viagra first. Gary's suggestion, and we'll bring the rest of the Wine Ninjas on presently. Some are still finishing their dinner. Some are finishing cigarettes, and others are waiting attentively in the wings. So, Garbo, Linda, good evening to you.
Hey. Hello, enormous listening world. And that man is Accrington Stanley.
What a lovely spread you have there of you as well.
Well, it's a little, you have to do these things, don't you? You get a nice wine, you've got to try different stuff with it. So that's what it's all about. That intro, right, for the wine club there, didn't just make you want to drink wine. Seeing all that wine going in the glass, swilling about, and all that sunshine and everything. It's wonderful, isn't it? I really want to drink wine now.
Well, I'm aware that whilst I agree with you completely that it does make me want to drink wine, it's a little bit out of date. It says Carl Munson and Gary Austin on there, because I think it's at one point that's what the kind of wine club shrank to, wasn't it? As a glowing ember, and now we've got new members joining us and having a great time. Fresh blood or fresh wine in the glass. So I think we might invite an open invitation to videographers or video makers or jingle makers or vingle makers to update that intro. But it's a good one. It's good enough for now. And it does encapsulate, I think, and illustrate Portugal and Portuguese winemaking at its best there. So you'll see it again at the end for those fans of the intro. Great idea tonight, Gary. Interesting, unusual, or funny named wine from any region here in Portugal. What made you do that?
Well, on the various trips down the wine aisles of wherever I seem to end up, I've noticed some really unusual names, and I just thought it'd be fun. And the wine club must be above all else fun. We don't want it too serious. We don't want it too snobby. And inject a bit of fun. Find a wine with an interesting, funny name, and just explore it. Just go sort of wild card.
Yeah. No, well said, and that should yield some interesting results tonight. And I think it's true what you say. We never wanted the wine club to be too snobby or snooty, and I've written about it. And you will hope, if all goes according to plan, you will be featured in the Portugal Resident later on this week, with illustrating or talking about those sort of sentiments.
Is that it's not the wanted poster, is it?
That's the one, yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah, there's a big reward available if anybody wants that. He's out there somewhere in Al Viagra in central Portugal. But great idea tonight. Let's go to, I think, probably Johnny Cocktail's ready to come on. We'll leave Miguelinho and Catalina for a moment because I think they're just finishing their supper. And after we've said hi to Johnny, we'll say hi to Andy and Leona as well in Leiria. I think Frank's hovering. He said he'd join us. We shall see. But for the time being, let's bring Johnny on. Good evening to you.
Hi,
Live
Johnny.
from the inside of the Algarve, I take it, Johnny. How are you this evening?
Yes, I am.
And how are you?
Terrific. It's thank you for having me back, and good to see all these faces.
Great to see you. I didn't ask Gary and Linda what their selection was. Maybe we'll come back to those after we've welcomed everybody onto the screen. But you found something, have you, Johnny, to share with us this evening?
I did. I have two different bottles. Neither of them are open because I didn't know if I might conflict with someone else. So I was just holding them back, but I have one that's on deck and ready to go.
Very thoughtful, very thoughtful. And this is what we've come to expect. I think this is your third appearance on the Wine Club, isn't it? And we do value our association with you and you being here this evening and your thoughtful approach to what we do. So thanks for being here tonight. Let's keep that applause going and bring Andy and Leona on from Leiria. Good evening, folks.
Hi there.
How's it going, Doc? How's it going, Leona?
Yeah, good, thanks. Good.
What sort of day have you had there over in Leiria?
Well, I've had my normal day.
So what would that be?
Leona's been working. Leona's started working on 2 jobs.
Oh, wow. Okay. And well, okay, well, someone's got to. It's a vegetarian household, so it metaphorically bring home the bacon, right? And when you said, "Well done, Leona," someone's got to do it. And as for you, Doc, your normal sort of days, what, lounging around, getting drunk, and smoking cigarettes?
Yeah, lounging around, smoking cigarettes, driving everyone where they need to be, coding, watching YouTube.
Excellent. Okay. Living the dream. Thank you very much for being here this evening. We'll come back to your selection. Round of applause for, I hope they're ready after their supper. Miguelinho and Catalina, good evening to you. How are you both?
No, we're great. Getting slowly settled in. This is our third day, I think.
Yeah.
Third day.
Your new home, right? So we have reason to celebrate tonight, have we not?
Yeah, the biggest issue has been trying to figure out how to
Increase
stop throwing the breakers because the lady looked like, and she was very pretty, and all the control she had so many layers on.
Yes.
No
power.
You're breaking up a bit there. Hopefully, that's nothing to do with your electrical power supply. But what happens in Portugal is if you put on, depending on the rating of the electricity coming into the house, and I think the KVAs, as they call them, sometimes it's not possible to have a kettle, a toaster, and a hairdryer on at the same time. And that seems to be what you're struggling with, right?
Exactly.
Yes. Okay. I've got to say, if we zoom in to you, you are looking very settled already. There's curtains. It looks pretty homely there. Are you happy with the way things are going so far?
Yes, we are.
Something you said?
Well, there we bought the house, the curtains, and all the furniture.
Well, I think it's amazing. A great progress. Well done. So congratulations. We will raise a glass specifically to you tonight and wish you all the best in your new home. That's fantastic. Oh, okay. Yeah. So we better get started, hadn't we, with what's being drunk this evening, apart from us. Benoit from Sir Lion H up there in Braga, who will join in May. And Pete is watching. You're very welcome to join us on screen, Pete. Benoit, we're on our homebrew, the Mulberry Malaise, and looking very cozy in Alvagra. With the lovely warm log fire going on behind Garvo there. And Benoit, Doc, and lovely Leona from Pete. Why have one job when you can have two? Congrats, Leona. So seal of approval from Peter there as well. So let's go first to Alvagra and the Austin household. What have you chosen with this theme tonight, Gary?
I'm going to let you have a go because I'll just yak away. Tell these good people what we've got.
We have a bottle of Vino Tinto, which is called Botta Veglia Old Boot. It's a Douro, and it's I think it's 2018, a Reserva. We've had a taste of it already. We had a taste when we opened the bottle, which was nice. But it's like a Douro. It's got a lot of tannins. It has sort of mellowed a bit. And it is quite a pleasant wine to drink. And Gary told me just before we came on air that the reason that's called Old Boot is because the owners of the winery spent a lot of time looking for the right winery, the right vineyard, and they wore out their boots. And that's why they've called it Old Boot.
All right. Okay, brilliant. So Old Boot, Botta Veglia. I thought it was Old Bottom. When I first heard it, and I was reaching for a translation, but old boot it is, being drunk in Alvagra tonight, and we'll find out more about it as the evening unfolds. Johnny Cocktail, you said you had two.
Well, I'm just going to introduce the one because looking at the other bottles, it doesn't look like I'm stepping on anyone else's toes. So what I have is, it's a wine from the Lisbon region. It's the Algazara Signature Reserva from Casa Santos Lima, and it is a Syrah, a Cab Sauv. It has Touriga Nacional and Castello. And the word Algazara, it's an Arabic word, and it was used by the Moors. It was something that they shouted out before they went to battle. But as the vintner now claims, and you can see these jolly trio on the front, that now they associate the word with festivities in which they come to celebrate with music. So it's a little whimsical label and an appropriation of the term and to a reason to drink wine.
Yeah,
So I
excellent.
haven't opened it yet. I will, and I'll get onto that while the others are talking about their wines.
Superb. So Algazara, which could be one of yours, Garvo, couldn't it? That could be your signature brew, the Algazara and Al Viagra there.
It's a bit of a mouthful, though, isn't it? Algazara, Al Viagra. I mean, you're going to get me in trouble after a few glasses.
It's true. It's true. But what a lovely backstory. Thank you for that. And I guess we, like you say, you can reappropriate it for a more peaceful age, hopefully. And you could go alongside Saud, Chin Chin, and Algazara as we get stuck into a glass.
Well, here we go. Okay, so
Excellent choice. Cheers, Johnny
Thank you.
Cocktail. Fantastic. Andy and Leona, what did you reach for this evening?
Well, we were going to try and get a bottle of the old Bastardo, but we couldn't see one in. Well, I couldn't. Leona couldn't see one in Intermarché. She come up with a fantastic alternative though. Yeah, it's called Ménage à Trois. No, sorry, it's called Mélange à Trois.
Okay, is that slightly different then to a Ménage à Trois?
Well, not really. But it just doesn't have the other connotations. But the reason it's a Mélange à Trois is it's 3 grapes. It's a Tinto Roriz, a Touriga Nacional, and Alfrochero, which I haven't come across before.
Okay, excellent. And sorry, I didn't see what it was. Did you say it was a Tinto
Sorry,
or a Branco?
It's a Tinto, and it's from the Dow. No particular winery, so I suspect it's a cooperative blend.
Possibly a bit of a risk then from the Dow, because that's our experience on the wine club, isn't it? The Dow has been the least reliable or the most adventurous, whichever way you want to look at it. Are you fans of the region particularly?
It's not our normal go-to, but we've had a couple of sips-ish, and it's quite presentable.
Excellent. All right, we'll come back and learn more about it. Miguelinho and Catalina. Now, would you mind telling us where your new house is?
Figueiros dos Vinhos.
Vinhos. So we have wine in our town name.
And is that why you chose it?
Yes.
Okay, excellent. Well done.
So,
what a great choice. And you're not a million miles away from Gary and Linda there, I think it's true to say.
no, we chose it because it has a hunking big garage underneath.
Okay.
So,
Which
I
Michael.
can bring my car over, still on my brother.
Okay.
Fire and a bunch of other stuff.
So like your man cave, garage, renovation workshop sort of area under the house.
Came with a man cave that has a full-size billiard table, a slate billiard table in it, and you can imagine they didn't want to move it.
So you've inherited that with the house?
We did. Well, we wouldn't say inherited. We paid for the house.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Well, that's a nice accessory to go along with the purchase. So congratulations to you both. That's wonderful news. Just as a little aside there, how have you found the process of buying a house in Portugal? Because some people find it nightmarish. Some people find it very straightforward. Where have you been on that spectrum?
Well, I wouldn't say nightmarish, but it's a lot different, let's just say, than we used to do. And so there were some surprises. You know, our general take on things is that things we think should be easy to accomplish end up being very complicated and take time consuming. Things we think, oh, this might be a tough one, are just a breeze. So that continues.
Yeah. That's pretty much sums up quite a few areas of life in Portugal, and it looks like you've learned to take that in your stride as well, which is fantastic.
Oh, absolutely. And what we found here is there's almost no. I mean, most people speak very little or no English, which is great for us because they're also patient with us. So they're helping us learn. Every day we learn new words and meet new people.
Well, they're patient with us now because it's only been 3 days. We'll see what it's like in a month.
Yeah. Give it a week. give it a couple of weeks, and then we'll check in again with you on the next wine club. And Porter Seiche is what you've got there. Did you say? I can't remember if we talked about your wine yet or not. We've talked about your house. Have we talked about your wine?
Actually, I was looking for something, with a bizarre label like we've seen during the WhatsApp string in the last week, but there's nothing came up like that lot. So I thought, well, I'm going to go for something totally different. I would never have picked this to drink normally because it seems to me it might be one of those wines that's as you said, a corporation put it together.
Yeah,
I'm sure you've all seen this.
Porto 6.
It is
Port-
Porto Seix.
Yeah.
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 It's
Well-
a decent wine.
Yeah.
Sure, because it doesn't even tell you what the grape is. It is 2022, and it is a denomination from Lisboa, but it's a soft, ripe, fruity wine with just enough power to be gentle without being indifferent,
Oh,
whatever that means. Enjoy it moderately in pleasant company. Well, we're definitely in pleasant company. They got that part right. But not a name for grape site. So
there probably are grapes in it, though. Probably
but
are.
it is from
Yeah, allegedly.
Wines, which is in La Ira.
Very
That's
good.
where we are.
Yeah,
There
no.
we go.
So it's in
Yeah.
your back
Mhm.
where it's made. Oh, Cortes. La
Course.
Ira.
Yeah.
That's where
Very
they are.
good. Well, funnily enough, now we've got another guest joining us in just a moment. When I say FT, I'm not talking about the Financial Times. I am talking about Francesco Tagliatelle, which is the pseudonym of the next guest joining us, who some of you who may have watched a long time ago, you will recognize him. But this, interestingly, when I was selecting my wine this afternoon at the magnificent Estado Líquido just outside Caldas de Reña, turns out that Porto Seix do a fizz now as well. Look at that. So we have seen this brand before, and I think it's made to appeal to the export market, isn't it? With its lovely Lisbon tram on the front, and I believe it turns up in Trader Joe's around the world, and it stands up. As Gary said, we may have tried it or we know of it, and we approve.
We tried it.
I think
Yeah.
I think that was one of Dougie's wines, if I
Yeah.
remember certainly right.
Yeah.
I think you're
Yeah.
right. I think you're right. That would be a Dougie
3
one.
years ago.
Yeah, because he could get it in over there in Wales. Okay, so let's come back to you and find out what you think of that in a little while. The Whitby's there in your new home, and we'll drink a toast to you. I think we should toast Chinese Terry as well, who had a recent birthday, and Paul Williams. So we can raise a glass to all of those. Paul Williams' birthday, also in central Portugal this evening. Let's give him a nice round of applause. FT Francesco! There he is.
Yay! Yay!
Hey.
Hello, my friend.
No,
How's everyone doing?
Frankie.
hold on just a minute. I recognize him. I just can't put. No, I definitely know you from somewhere.
Yeah. Don't start with me, you.
Frank, how are you?
Something going on his face, but yeah.
Exactly. How's it going?
Very good. I'm so glad you could join us this evening. Superb to see you. You're looking great. Nice Led Zeppelin
nice
t-shirt.
t-shirt, yeah.
Yeah, nice pork pie hat. Fantastic. How's everything going? Where are you this evening?
I am where I'm supposed to be, in Tavira. And where, well, Michael and Catalina were here until recently, before they moved to Al Viagra.
Yeah. Yeah.
So is it like, you know what? I'll tell you one thing. I've for the past 4 years. By the way, how's it going, Gary and Linda? How's it going, Johnny Cocktail and the Doc?
Welcome home, Frank. Welcome home.
How's it going? Last time I went to Al Viagra, for some reason, like maybe it was Gary and Linda's hospitality. For some reason, it grew on me. No pun intended. It was like, it's a cool area, so I can completely understand why Al Viagra is the place is the choice area for you guys. How's everything going over there, guys?
It is good. Life is as good as it's always been. I'm always glad to see the sun come up for another day of, enjoyment in life.
That's very good. Are you? So I'm quite sure you're not in the basement of sin. You are in the kitchen right now.
We're not too far away. It's over in the corner.
Okay. Yeah, I realize.
You can still feel the vibe. You can still smell the testosterone poking through the wall.
That was a great weekend, wasn't it? Al Viagra, Castanera de Pera, and Marrakesh.
Oh yeah.
One amazing weekend.
That's a weekend. That's a weekend. Carl Munson sold me for a few pennies.
It was I have such fond memories, and we're going to do it again this year, and hopefully more people come and join us. Frank, what have you brought with you tonight? Something interesting, funny name?
It was not. I was actually thinking I would do Mula Velia, because that's kind of like, all right, that's kind of an interesting name, but it's an interesting name, but a bad wine. So I didn't want to do that to myself. So what I did is instead I went and I had this one. This is like one of my favorite wines.
Oh, hold on.
It's called.
Follow you up. Signature. Okay. Right. It's your signature wine. Is this what you say when you whip
exactly.
it out? Yeah.
There you go. When I whip it out, it's like this. So it's this one is a signature, of course.
Very good.
It's a decent wine.
And did I see it's from the Alentejo region? Because Dimas is joining us this evening. Good evening, guys. Best wines in Portugal are those from the Alentejo and Alto Douro region. And you've got an Alentejo there, right? With the signature.
Yes, this is Alentejo.
Mark also with us. Bonoit, Salayan H saying we're on a bit early. We need to do this later because it's dinner time in Portugal. And the experts, Dow is where the Touriga Nacional gives the best wines. So if it's 100% Touriga Nacional from the Dow, I like it. So that's a little tip about our reservations about the Dow there. Maybe stick to 100% Touriga Nacional.
I actually saw one today at Continent, and it's on sale. I forget the name, but it's 100% Touriga Nacional. But my thing is, remember when we had for years we'd been doing like these wine pairings and whatever, and Touriga Nacional was always the binding wine between it was Touriga Nacional and then the other two other wines. You'd bring it together, and then it would become Touriga Nacional was always the very, very dry element in there. So I was like, I don't know if this is going to work out very well, but I'm definitely going to try it now that I've received the recommendation.
All right, there you go from Salayan H. And Michael Barton. The Bartons are joining us tonight. Bonoit, you can be on the screen with us if you like, and you've chosen this because you like the label. That's sweet, isn't it? That's the Mandriola de Lisboa. So Lisboa is pretty well represented tonight.
Yes,
And we've got I don't know what a Mandriola is. Have you looked that up, Michael and Karen? And maybe you can let us know what it is. But that looks like a nice wine. So for now, Pires and Moscatel Graudo are grapes, aren't they? They're not names of winemakers. I'm really not sure. I'm out of depth there. So the Bartons, if you could tell us a little bit more about your selection tonight, that would be great. And you're very welcome to join us on the screen. Now, as well as finding the Portuguese fizz, which they've branched into, I was looking for something fizzy because I thought that's what you were going for, Frank. And I like to.
I was this morning. It's your favorite. And actually, you like the pink one, right? You like the pink one better, right? With the Baihada, the pork.
Not so much. I saw this, and
you're not into your pink anymore. Okay, all right, that's a new one.
There are times when
What's going on?
Who doesn't like the pink first thing in the morning, Frank?
This guy.
I thought that was just too crass, and
Yeah.
Has anyone tasted that here?
It's supposed to be very good wine. It is supposed to be a very good wine because it's not a cheap wine. I'll say that now.
No, but that's part of the reason why. That was the other reason why I didn't select it.
I haven't booked up enough courage yet.
There are certain magazines that you put inside another magazine. Can you do the same with this? Can you get like a bigger bottle of wine that you can put that inside of to avoid embarrassment? So I refrained from the jizz, and instead I went with some fizz instead of jizz.
With the fizz, oh, nice.
This is I nearly went for a Louis Pateau fizz. Now this one. This is 3B, made by his daughter, I believe. It's like the apple or the grape doesn't fall far from the vine.
Yeah.
And have you tried this, Doc? You're talking as if you recognise this.
No, I've tried another of his daughter's wines, not that one though.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's what I'm going for tonight. So it's 3B, which is an odd name, isn't it? That's an unusual name. Sounds like a pencil. I would say a 3B. So I'm looking forward to tasting that this evening. So let's get started. Let me just pop this cork and we can raise the glass to the Whitbys in their new home. Chinese Terry for his birthday. Paul Williams and any other toasts this evening. It'll be lovely. So I'm just, look at that. Oh, what a beautiful sight that is. And I expect to have a very flushed face very soon as a result. Beautiful. Sorry, I didn't pour that very well, but
there you go.
Cheers. So congratulations
to you, Michael and Kathleen.
Very all the best to you. Every happiness in your new home.
All the best
in Portugal. And to John Terence, Chinese Terry, happy birthday of last week, I think. And Paul Williams, a friend of ours that some of us know here in central Portugal. Happy birthday to you today. Fantastic.
Chinese Terry's not with us tonight because he's been to the dentist and he's a bit beaten up. So
Oh dear.
he's opted out.
Yeah, what's going on?
He had a wisdom tooth put in. So
Very good. Do send him our best.
Oh, that's nice. Garbo is on form today. I like that.
Carry on then, Garbo. Tell us a bit about yours, if you will.
Well, I didn't really deeply research it, other than the people that own the winery spent a long time looking for the vineyard. They wanted the best. And this, as the story goes to the wine, they wore their boots out trying to find it. But it's made with Touriga National and Touriga Franca and 17 other old vines of almost ancient denomination. So it doesn't actually list those. So it's a proper blend. And I'm not a great Douro fan. I will drink it. I know that it's got heritage, but this is quite a nice one, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's quite acceptable.
Quite palatable.
Yeah, it's warmed up nicely and changed structure to quite a silky smooth wine. It's
Is the 2-glass Linda rule still in play?
oh yeah, sure. It's long gone, mate. It's more than 2 glass now.
Now we've moved to 3.
It's very possible. Yeah, depends if you get the wind in the right direction.
All
We
right.
were talking about how wines, through our journey through the different regions, and how you could express to somebody who's not been here very long what the wines are like. I mean, we kind of made this little conversation piece where you pick a region and then say you think of a celebrity who that has the sort of qualities of that region. For instance, like the Douro. We were talking. The Douro is a bit of a George Clooney, isn't it?
Yes.
It's it's stylish. It's fairly polished. Or if you're a man and you need it's Penelope Cruz. Yeah, say Penelope Cruz. Now, if you go down to the Dow, right? The Dow is, as we appreciate, it's one of those ones. It's very hit and miss. You don't really know what you're going to end up with. So we went for a sort of a Jack Nicholson.
Yeah.
And who was the other one with
Drew Barrymore.
Oh, Drew Barrymore. If you're obviously
Yeah.
we set a picture for a man and a woman so you can understand. When you go to the Bairrada, right? The Bairrada is a producer of good, honest wines, isn't it? It's what you get there is it's not flashy. It's not, it doesn't. We chose Doris Day and Rock Hudson because it's a good homely wine, isn't it?
Yeah.
You can drink it with anything, and it's one of those good solid wines.
Wow, I thought you were going to say Ray Winston for the bio.
We could have. There are many people you could. Now, when you go to the Setúbal Tejo region, and this is my favourite region because of the wine that's there. Now we're talking like Tom Hardy, yeah, if you're a woman. But if you're a man, then this is Salma Hayek all over, right? It is a full-bodied, powerful, sexy wine that spares no prisoners. It goes straight to the mark.
Gary, behave, Gary.
I'm giving some colour here. Now, when you go to Alentejo, we all love a good Alentejo, don't we? Which is a blend, really, of all the other wines put together. So we're thinking probably Kate Beckinsale as very stylish, very cultured, a little bit sexy. And if you're a woman to appreciate this, we're talking maybe Hugh Jackman. It's got that underlying sexiness, that stylishness, the quality. And I always think the Alentejo does it perfectly. It sits in the middle ground and covers most everything, really. So if you're wondering about Portuguese wines, I think that's a pretty good little sort of map to look to.
It's an infographic, doesn't it? If we can get away with the photographic copyright. Yes. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Any other suggestions? Very, very welcome on that. Frank, where was your mind going with that?
My mind was going all over the place. I like, but the thing is, a few like I do not. Ray Winston is actually someone I thought of immediately as far as Bayada is concerned. It's because it could be kind of. It's just from the sound of his voice. It's kind of rough. It's got like a few rough edges, and it's very, very rustic. And but I've seen it served in big cities, so So it's pretty much Ray Winston kind of thing. But yeah.
The red fizz is like Ray Winston in a pink shirt, isn't it? It's like, shut
That's
up.
very, very true. That's very, very true. Shut up, yeah.
Shut up.
Yeah, mug.
But to be fair, they do some cracking spumants. You know, I'd paste them against anything. Really, they're really nice.
This is one of them.
Yeah, that one, right?
Yeah. You know
the pink one they do with the pig, right? What's that thing?
Light out.
Or is it the red fizz that they do with the roasted pig? Which one is it?
Traditionally, it would be the red fizz with Leitão.
The red fizz, right? Yeah.
I think there was a resurgence of interest in the Bairrada weekend, so we'll have to do that, and
we'll definitely have to do that.
Benny's helping us out.
Where's young Benny tonight?
He's really, really busy. He's doing a thesis for his college. So
I know what kind of thesis he's doing, young Benny, out in Niagara.
So that's what
he was out working the past couple of nights, doing sort of 12-hour days, that sort of stuff. So he's pretty exhausted.
Good lad.
Hospitality legend, definitely. Right, Johnny Cocktail, how's that going down? It might not have been open for as long as you'd like, I suspect.
Well, I aerated. It is opening up. I am enjoying it. I'm grateful for this theme because it made me look at wines I wouldn't elsewise gravitate towards. And my tasting library is underrepresented by the Lisboa region. So this, it's quite pleasant for me because it reminds me more of the wines that I used to drink before I came here with the Syrah and Cab Sauv backbones, and then layered on the Touriga Nacional. So it's a nice, tasty, familiar wine. Yeah, this is a 2021. I saw one rating for it that wasn't vintage specific. It was a 3.9. I think that I would put it slightly higher than that. Maybe just because of the nostalgia factor for me, and with a Syrah is a varietal that is among my favorites, and Kim's Cab Sauv is her lane. So she's not here to have this. She's not going to be here for 3 weeks, and this bottle will certainly be gone long before then. So I think maybe tonight, and I think that it's something that she'll have a chance to taste when she returns.
Very good, very good. Well, lots of love to Kim when you speak to her. Now, you're not that long in the country. How's it all going for you, and the journey you're making with not just with the booze here, but the culture in general? Any more reflections to share with us of your recent time here in Portugal?
Well, so far so great, as I'm prone to say, and I think it will get even better as now the dam is breaking and we're having a slew of visitors come to be with us. And our first ones were here just last week. And because of that, we expanded our typical routine, and we went to the Alentejo, we went to Évora, and we went to Monserrate and Beja, and had some great times there and great wines. And just this last weekend, I was at a wine festival that was in Vilamora, and I was able to drink wines that were brought in from around the country, and including some that they don't even have distribution in the Algarve yet. So being able to speak with producers of small batch wineries and taste theirs and different styles. Again, as I mentioned in a post today, my first opportunity to drink the clay pot wines. It's just keeps on getting better and better.
Oh, good. I'm so glad to hear that. It is a Portuguese wine festival, like the spirit that Gava was was talking about earlier on in this live stream. Is it unpretentious, down to earth? I mean, that's the cut and thrust of the article I've written this week. That's what I think about, down to earth, literally, with the vines, with the fruit, with the wine. It's down to earth. Is that the kind of flavor and pitch of a wine festival here? I've not been to one yet.
Well, being that it was in Vilamora, it was more in a conference room space. I would have liked if they'd have had food available, because some of the wines, they spent quite a bit of time with contact with wood, and there's tannic, and to have the opportunity to have some food to pair with that, if not just offset it, would have been welcome. So again, this was my first big wine event, and I look forward to others, and I'm sure that they'll be represented differently.
Yeah, okay, but a fun event nonetheless, right? Good start.
Oh, terrific. No regrets.
Excellent, excellent. Okay, Doc, thank you for the time being, Johnny Cocktail. We will give all of these a mark for what it's worth from the Good Morning Portugal Wine Club. Doc, how's yours going down?
Very well. Leona's had to disappear off and help a teenager with a pre-exam revision, but yeah, it's nice. I've got a problem at the moment. I've had a hell of a cold, so my taste buds aren't what they normally are. But from what I can taste, it's nice. Leona felt it was a bit too acidy for her.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm as far as I can taste, it's very good. It's going down very well.
Why is Frank laughing? Do you think? What's going on? Why is Frank
Because the doc is still a trooper, man. Cold or what, doesn't matter. You'll just go for it.
Oh yeah.
I love it.
Funnily enough, although this is a red, there's a, and this is my shocked a bit taste buds probably, but I'm getting a little bit of citrusy, which is very strange. Very strange for a red. I've never had that before, but definite.
Do you think wine makers can get their taste buds insured in the same way that pianists, Frank, can get their fingers insured? Does it work like that? I wonder.
I should think so.
Do.
Who does, Michael?
The great sommeliers of the world do it.
Do they? They're insured, are they?
They are insured. Yeah.
And
Wow.
It's a business for them. It's an insured.
Yeah, it's an insured risk. Yeah.
Yeah.
do with their legs.
Yeah.
Well, let's go.
What does that entail? So, like, let's say if a sommelier comes to your table and he recommends a wine, and he suggests, all right, like this wine, you should feel this, you should feel this kind of tannin, you should feel that, whatever. And if it doesn't, you can if you sue him, it's covered.
Well, I guess. Imagine being a loss adjuster for a taste bud insurer. How the hell do you prove that someone's taste buds aren't short and they just don't want to retire with a nice lump sum?
That's why this insurance. That's why anytime insurance is mentioned, it's such a huge scam. Because you're like, what are you protected against? You're going to say, all right, so this particular note is protected, whatever. What if Doc today, he's got a cold, he goes to a fancy schmancy restaurant, going over there and doesn't mention that he's got a cold, that he says, listen, whatever you say, I didn't taste any of this in this wine. So I'm going to sue your ass. That's what's going to go down right now.
We're not we're not pretentious, and we're not litigious either. So forget all of that. Now, what I did want to ask you, Doc, while we've got you there, and you seem to be suffering from a cold, is I bought a Portuguese newspaper at the weekend. I was surprised as well. €2. Papers have gone up a lot since I bought a newspaper. Oh, Doc, you're right. Now, I think it was Diário de Notícias, the paper of record for Portugal. And there was something about vinho on the cover. And when I translated it, I thought it was going to be an interesting story about wine. But it was one of those stories. It turns out red wine is not that good for you. Yeah. It's just like the Daily Mail. Like, one month it's good for you. Next month,
they're talking rubbish. They're talking rubbish. Just look at the life expectancy around the Mediterranean. Wine has to be good for you. Yeah, this is probably the beer industry trying to get some of the market share.
Funnily enough, there was an article on the same page saying how good beer was for you.
There you go.
Right, the Whitby's. Am I seeing your lights going up and down according to your voltage potentiometer or whatever's going on over there? Are things happening in your house tonight?
Oh no, I
did an installation today.
I installed under counter lighting, and it has a remote on it, so we can turns
Dimmer.
on and off, and also a dimmer. And I think there's a poltergeist in here because every now and again it'll just go down and then up. And
I thought I
It's
saw
the
that.
seance. It's the seance that your neighbours are conducting in your man cave underneath you.
Imagine what that's going to do to your pool table.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
yeah.
Wow. So tell us how is your portage then, the Whitbees?
Yeah.
So,
Your volume's coming in and out as well. So how is that portage?
what, if you go back to comparisons of people, stars that we know, we've decided this wine is very much honey booth.
So I'm missing you there. Who was it like?
Bonnie Boo.
Oh, Connie Boo.
Connie Boo.
Reliable. Connie Boo.
It's
Yes.
from Faulty Tower.
Because it's all over the map.
Okay.
Put on in this, we get a really great sort of spicy nose, and we get the same thing on the mouthfeel, and then a moment later you try it again and it's not there. And I think I need to claim on my nose insurance.
Yeah.
Nunu could expect a call tomorrow.
It's got a lot of it's surprising. I'm really amazed. It's got really quite a spicy flavor. I can't tell you what grapes in it because
They don't tell you.
they don't tell me. I'm not good enough to know.
Okay, but it sounds like you're fairly impressed.
No, I am impressed. Actually. I'm not impressed at the price when I can go to Continent and buy something that's twice as good for half the price.
Yeah.
You have to try it.
But and you're right. I've seen this in our local wine store back in the US, and they only have about 3 wines.
Yeah.
And I think I've seen this or one or two.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is made for. It's like Matches Rosé, Portage. These are at least 2 of the 6 wines you see around the world, I think. And fair play to them. They've seen a niche and they've gone for it.
Yeah.
And good to hear that it's like it's flying the flag for well enough for Portuguese.
People would pick it up and say, "Hey, these Portuguese wines aren't bad."
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not embarrassing Portugal.
Yeah. Very good. Very good. Okay. Now, does anyone know, before we go to Frank, Portuguese wine sold for €500 a glass at a Gordon Ramsay restaurant. Is there any need for that whatsoever? And what would it be?
Portage.
Maybe the jizz.
That could only be, is it Bagavea? The really expensive stuff. It's probably about £500 a bottle if you buy it. That's here.
Right. Okay.
And that's if you're lucky.
Yeah, but Garbo, one of the top wines over here, a Grouse.
Yes.
It's a beautiful wine, right?
Yeah.
It's a beautiful wine, and you can buy it for let's say 20, 25 euros. It's one of the top line wines. If you're drinking that one, it's a wonderful. My thing is, what kind of restaurant are you running? Or maybe people enjoy paying that kind of money because then they are expecting something out of this world. And when they pay the 500, the satisfaction is in paying, not drinking.
Yeah.
Because
right.
pretty much, if it's a 25 euro wine that I can buy in a grocery store, that's retail. If I can buy it wholesale for about 18 at Recheo. So this pretty much translates to what kind of profit margin is there on just a bottle of wine? I think it's ridiculous.
So it's a bit like if you build it and they will come, stick it on the menu and someone will buy it.
Stick it on the menu. Stick it on the menu. Put the price you want, somebody will pay for it.
Yeah, well, here's the story.
Sucker born every day.
I'm looking at Sapo.pt. Gordon Ramsay sells glass of Portuguese wine for €500. Gordon Ramsay connection to Portugal is no longer new, and now he's decided to take a little of us to his restaurants, says Jessica Santos. This was on Leap Day, funnily enough. Portuguese wine is probably one of the many wonders we have in our country. Words from Gordon Ramsay, who was so enchanted that he now even sells glasses of Portuguese wine in his restaurants for a modest sum of €500. This feat was achieved thanks to winemaker Claudio Martins, who decided to elevate the concept of fine wines with his limited series Wines from Another World. And that's the beautiful bottle, which, and you can see it's kind of making its way to that, almost like a dare on a menu, right? Who will dare to buy that? From the name, you can tell that they are luxury wines of quality and with a price to match.
Yeah,
For
it's
example,
the Jupiter. There it is.
Yeah,
This is you know what, Carlito, this is a first date purchase.
okay.
Yeah.
So if you want to impress somebody, it's a high
This
risk.
is a first date purchase.
Okay.
It's a business lunch.
Yes.
Yeah, someone
Yeah.
else is paying.
Yeah, I would think so. Initially costing €1,000 per bottle. That's the Jupiter. It's an Alentejo Red from 2015. It's now sold by the glass in Gordon Ramsay restaurants for €500, according to Senora Martins, quoted by Sapo Lifestyle. Gordon Ramsay's connection to Portugal is nothing new. Despite not having family roots here, Portuguese cuisine has something that has always fascinated him. He's already recorded an entire episode in Portugal. Some of us have seen that, of course. So you just think that's a bit of a con, basically. There's no way, by the sound of it, Frank, you would splash out 500.
No, not even on a first date. It's not happening.
not even. Fair enough. Okay.
It ain't happening, darling. No, it just doesn't make sense.
Okay, so Gordon Ramsay, you can keep your €500 wine. Doc says red wine is good for you. So we've dealt with those things. Frank, how is that wine you're drinking?
This wine is smooth. It's heavy the way I like it. These kinds of wines are actually very, very good with red meat. So this is a proper Pinot Noir of Portugal. This one is it's just a very, very solid wine. On every note, it's smooth. I can't say enough about this wine, and the grapes in there. All right, what are the grapes in there? What are the grapes in there?
Oh, yeah, third glass. I noticed that, Linda.
Linda, I'm watching you.
That's it. It's gone.
It's gone, right?
It's gone.
Screw the grapes. It's a good one. I'm enjoying it. This is the kind of solid wine. This is a first date wine. You want to impress a girl, you want to buy this wine.
Okay, excellent. A great way of looking at it. We've used Hollywood stars and we've used the dating spectrum as well.
Exactly.
Those Gordon Ramsay restaurants. I'm going to have a little bit of a break here before we come back and score each of them to continue talking about scoring. I'm going to take you to the Alentejo now. And I was really lucky the other evening. I was reminded because when I was in Estado Líquido earlier on, talking of funny names, this is Maladinha, which is Portuguese for spotty cow, which would have been a great wine to have this evening. I think a bit more of a special occasion. Their wines are, at the expensive end, and they're not usually found in supermarkets. I bought one of their olive oils. This is olive oil and not wine in here, which was delicious. We had some at dinner time tonight. But what a lovely name for a wine, Maladinha. Which is spotty cow in Portuguese. And I want to just play a little bit of footage actually from their website. So let's have a look at this now and some of their narration on their website. And I got to meet two of the two couples. So one of the two couples, João and Margaret Suarez, and they have renovated this beautiful site in the Alentejo. It's incredible what they've done there. Let's have a little bit of a listen to what they have to say about it.
Is our dream, is our vision.
We feel that we have the obligation of sharing. I'm doing this to leave a legacy.
At age 14, I was invited to come here. There was no running water, sometimes no electricity. I knew that probably sometime I could do something for those people, for the region, and for the country.
This place has some special characteristics. The soils are very poor. They can be improved with many, many actions that we made in order to attract biodiversity, which is what we have been doing. So we can have a balanced agriculture, which is completely the philosophy.
Regenerative agriculture is our path.
Carlito, I can't hear it.
Planting local vegetables.
Now you tell me. Have you not heard any of that all of that time? Have you just been sitting there?
Yeah, I heard it.
I can hear it.
I can hear it.
Oh, okay. Thanks, Frank. I'm going to rewind and start that whole section again. No, I'm not.
That's all right. You know, we're in Algarve. It's a special area.
I just wondered whether
I
that,
see. That was like an Algarve bit of sledging there, just to have a little pop of the Alentejo from the Algarve. There. But you got the gist there, right? I mean, what an amazing place.
I did.
They went there to an abandoned Alentejo farm, and they've turned it into the most amazing place where you can stay now. And they've got cattle, they've got sheep, they've got bees, and they're doing the honey, the olive oil, and they're making the most beautiful wine, some of which I tasted the other evening. It is a very special place. And I think, talking of first dates, first weekend away would be an amazing place to take someone to a Maladinha or for a very special occasion. So, yeah, shout out to Maladinha. What an amazing place. And I think you'll agree, what a lovely bit of footage there.
You know what? You know one thing about Alentejo that I really every time I've gone over there that I really appreciated is everything is obviously it's the bread basket of Portugal, but everything from the food to the olive oil. About a week ago I bought 3 liters of olive oil over here from a farm for about 25-30 euros. And I remember up north and in Alentejo you could buy 5 liters of top grade olive oil for about 10 to 12 euros, nothing more than that. So its Alentejo region is amazing. It's not it doesn't deserve all the whatever, because tourists usually don't go there, but it's a beautiful area of Portugal, and it's a godsend for anyone who likes good food and wine.
Well, those folks at Maladinha have done the most amazing labor of love. And I would love to go there. And we've got to spend more time there, haven't we? We've got to get over there. And
Carl, I have a question.
Go on, Johnny.
Is that the Herdade de Maladinha Nova?
Yes, exactly. That place. Did you go there?
Well, no, but after my visit to the area and getting some information, they are in a region. There's a cluster of 4, includes the Dos Gros, that are in that area that I look to visit in the future. There's 4 very close. They're at the southernmost, which means that they're the closest to me. So that's a destination I'm picking for my birthday.
Oh, you will not.
Wonderful.
It's so beautiful.
Now you see, me being the Philistine that I am, I was watching that piece of video, and lovely though it was, but then I suddenly thought, I wonder what peacock tastes like.
Yeah.
And would he go with this wine?
Right, you could do that. I think it's one of the king's protected creatures in the United Kingdom, Gary. You'd have been sent to the tower.
That's swans, isn't it? They can't eat swan.
Okay, yeah. Fair enough. Okay, so let's in these closing moments and minutes before we have our lock-in. And if you want to join us for the lock-in after hours, after the live stream, if you want the link and come and join us and have a drink with us, you're very welcome to do so. That's the link for Maladinha Nova there. Well spotted, Johnny, by the way. Let's go around the room and get some marks for these wines. The Austins in Alvagra. Linda, I think it's past the 2-glass threshold there.
Yes, I see that.
Yes, I am enjoying this wine. It's it's a nice wine, but it probably isn't fruity enough for me. I prefer a more fruitier wine, but I'm going to give it 4.
Very good. Okay, I'm impressed. Yeah, I didn't think that was going to happen tonight, but it seems to have grown on you. And a good choice. The Old Boot there, Gary. What would you say?
It's a typical Douro. It's a very refined Douro. Slightly on the dry side, a little more tannic, not so sweet as the southern wines. But I think I would classify this one probably as a good eating wine. We've been eating with the black pudding, the Morcello, and it just goes absolutely perfectly with this wine. It really makes a good pairing. Good solid Douro. And I'm going to give it just slightly more than 4. I think probably 4.2.
Okay.
A good Douro for me. I enjoyed it.
Very good. Where did you get your black pudding from?
Just the local supermarket. You can buy 3 or 4 different sorts. You could have it with rice. You could have it with what was the other thing?
Onion.
Onion.
This was for Arganil.
Yeah, this is an Arganil one. So
Arganil one.
Oh,
Which is very, very nice, actually.
it is.
Nice,
It's beautiful.
nice flavour.
Really,
So
really
a
nice.
good full-bodied red, bit of black pudding. Very nice. Excellent.
Excellent.
Thank you very much. Great idea tonight, the Austins. Go on, Michael.
The Arganel is about the closest you're going to get to real black pudding.
Oh, okay. So you've already been there and tried that, have you?
No, I bought. You can actually get that in the Alps.
At the Tayo.
If you go to the right guys.
Yeah.
You know,
Okay.
you're not going to
Does
get
he like
it.
open his coat and it's like this? Do you want to buy some sausage?
Sausage is hanging down inside his Mac.
I would say it's better than black pudding back home. I'm enjoying it more.
It's
not
really
so
nice.
not so heavy. It's got more flavour.
Yeah,
That's
black
with-
pudding can be a bit awkward, can't it, in the UK? I did have
Yeah.
black pudding poisoning coming back from Affleck's Palace one time in Manchester, and that's another time, another story for another time. Thank you, the Austins. Johnny Cocktail, please, marks out of 5 for yours. Could you remind us what it is again as well?
So it's the Algazara.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, the signet, and I am a little confused on some of the supplemental names that they give to the wines. Signature, Reserva, and this is a signature Reserva, and sometimes the Gold Edition. And are these just marketing terms, or is there an industry standard? I still have a lot to learn.
Good question. Good question.
Now, I could have used a little of the spice that was mentioned by Miguelino and Catalina for their wine, because this is supposed to be a Syrah dominant wine, and so it didn't bring much of that little spice notes that come typically from a Syrah. It's very clean. It makes me think it didn't spend much time on wood, so it's pretty juice forward. But again, it fits into that fine category that we've adopted in our house, which means, yes, I like it. The price point was great. It would go well with many different foods. It's very easy to drink. We would certainly repeat it. It's a 4.
Okay, Johnny, thank you. I'm loving your attention to detail and the journey you're having with Portuguese wine. It's fantastic. So thank you for being a part of the wine club. A 4 there for the Algazara. Excellent. Andy, what do you think? Are you impaired by a cold? But
yeah, well, okay. Just understanding that I can't appreciate the any subtleties of flavour that may or may not exist in this wine. I'm enjoying the acidity and even that citrus note I talked about earlier. It's nice. I mean, I'd happily drink more of it. We've only got one bottle, so I'll have to wait until we get another one. But I'm happy to give that a 4.2 on the understanding I might change that if and when I drink it without having my taste buds restricted.
show us the label again, if you will, Andy, so people
Yeah,
know.
it's the mélange à trois. Sorry, mélange à trois.
Mélange à trois. There you go.
nice one, Doc.
See, I'm thinking that's not a good first date wine, unless
No, it probably isn't, unless you know that she's particularly liberal in her sexual proclivities.
Yes, yeah, that would be one way of putting it for sure.
Or they're twins.
Well, that's
Ooh.
always a nice possibility.
Johnny Cocktail.
Wow, and even with a cold, Andy's not letting his imagination be limited in any way. So 4.2 for the Mélange à Trois in Leiria tonight. The Whitbees at Porto Seixas, a classic, known around the world. It'll be in the top 10, I think, of Portuguese wines known around the world for sure, Porto Seixas, because of the work they've done in exporting it around the world. What's your verdict?
But we had not tried it before tonight, even though it might be a classically known Portuguese wine.
As Johnny said, it has some of the sparkle that you'd expect from Syrah, but there isn't a drip of Syrah. Can't forget what grapes are in, and it's
Aragon.
Aragonese, 40%, 50% Aragonese.
I'm sorry, 40% Castellão,
and 10%
Touriga Nacional.
Touriga Nacional.
Mm-hmm.
So, the classic blend of Portugal, really.
Yes, definitely.
It actually is. I'd actually drink it again. I'm not sure Like for €7 again. If I saw
€7 in Portugal.
€7.
Wow.
Oh,
Outrageous.
terrible.
If I saw it before, I'd buy it. But oh, it's actually way
It's not-
better than we thought, and we'll give it a 4.
It's not meant for the local market. It's meant for the export market, where probably $18 in Canada,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
maybe
Sure.
US.
Yeah. And something
then-
nice, maybe
then
you could give to guests as well. It's a kind of cultural reference as well, isn't it? To have the 28 tram on there.
Label. It has a very pretty label. I'm an
Yeah.
artist. Pretty label.
Well, that artist is celebrated here in Portugal. They were commissioned specifically to do that, and there are other works you can buy, but their name I forget now. But yeah, they are known,
Yeah.
and it's an iconic label. So thank you very much. And your did you give us a number?
Yeah, I think we
A
think
4.
it's
Yeah.
and we don't give those numbers easy, so it's pretty good.
Okay, excellent. Thank you to Whitbees. Francesco Tagliatelle, your rating, please.
Well, I just noticed the 3 different grapes. So it's got Trincadeira, it's got the Syrah, and then Touriga Nacional brings it together. So it's meant to be spicy. It's not that spicy. And it is quite an elegant wine. Some of the notes over here, I kind of don't agree with, because it's the wine itself. You can taste black fruits in it. You can smell some of the oak, but other than that, I don't get any of the spice. The Touriga Nacional, the dryness of the Touriga Nacional is there. But other than that, it's a very, very smooth wine. This is a beautiful wine to be had, as I said, with red meat. So since it's one of my favorites, I don't know. What's the scale is 5?
Yep.
Okay, so we'll do a 4.2 on this one.
Very good. Show us the label again, Frank, please.
Yeah.
Okay, there we go. The signature, Santa Vittoria signature from the Alentejo there, a 2021, excellent, and a 4.2. Okay, then for me, very quickly, I'm enjoying this, no question about that. But Luis Pato, she is a chip off the old block. This is Philippa, I believe. Blanc de Blanc 3B. I haven't found out why it's called that. I'm sure there's a big backstory, but you know how it is when you search for a wine on the web, you're going to get loads of people selling it, and you don't necessarily get through to the original website. So I've yet to discover the backstory here. This is the grape hasn't fallen far from the vine, in the sense that as a daughter of Luis Pato, she is being a maverick and unorthodox, and is trying something unusual and not playing it safe. And there's a little bit of small print here, which I think says unfiltered, which I think in many ways is either like at worst an excuse, or at best a little bit of an explanation that this is not, this is in a category of its own. It's an unfiltered fizz. And actually what it tastes like to me, as much as I'm enjoying it, and it's definitely fizz doing the biz, it's like homebrew in a way. It's like something somebody would have made for you at home very proudly and of good quality, but it's not dry and fine like you're expecting from a fizz in Portugal that you buy.
What's the strength on that, Carl? Just out of interest.
It is only 11 and a half as well. Yeah. So
how dare you, Carlito? They sell this. This is export wine. Chinese drink this one with Sprite. What's wrong? We
heard this, didn't we? We heard this from Luis Pato himself. He was telling us, wasn't he, when we interviewed him that time? He was talking about the Chinese market, wasn't he? And he was completely cynical about it, wasn't he? As far as I could tell. Put a red label on it because the Chinese like that.
Proper wine whore. I love that guy. Proper wine whore. I don't care if they drink my wine with Coca-Cola.
It's what he said. And I'm fair play to them. They are a very exciting wine house, or whatever you'd call them. A producer of wine, and I'm all for it. but it's not as, you know, it's not like, you know, my favorite fizz really for sort of pound for pound and for every day, if you like, is that Terra de Demos, the one in the lovely shapes.
Really?
My favourite. Yeah.
€7, and you
Yeah.
can give that as a gift if you go to somebody's house. It's beautiful. It's beautifully presented. It's really dry and it's really lovely. It's like you know, perfect. But this is risky. This is risky. I think this is something that you would have at home, and you would, you know, you'd be talking about it. It's not something you could rock up with, and people think, oh. Yeah, that's a bit unusual. Unfiltered, I don't understand that. I don't get it, but I think it is a bit of a clue to its unorthodox nature. But still, for me, it's I'm going to go for 4.3. You know, I would drink it again, but it does need a bit of explanation. It does need a bit of a backstory, and it's a bit unusual. But you can make the case because it's a Pato wine, not the old man, but one of his daughters. There's a great backstory and a great story to be told about it. So that's me this evening. Thank you, Wine Ninjas. A great evening, a great idea, Garvo. Is anybody picking up the baton and running with it for next month? Because we always find ourselves in this position, don't we?
I do have an idea. I had an idea.
Garvo, go on.
And I'll just throw this one out there, right? We were talking about single grape varieties, and you know, a lot of people do try them. But when you look at varieties like, say, Chardonnay or Sauvignon Blanc or Cabernet Sauvignon, right? We do them here in Portugal, right? Limited numbers. Shall we try one of those and see what we come up with?
What, Portugal kind of emulating another part of the world in a characteristic way,
and see how they compare.
I already know where I'm going to go.
Okay, very good, Michael. We missed you.
So what's the deal? What's going on?
Find a Portuguese version of another country's wine like Cabernet Sauvignon or a Merlot or a Syrah or whatever comes to mind, and see how it compares to the other product.
Yeah, just like Johnny Cocktail, I know which one I'm going to do.
Yeah. Specifically, you're inferring a single varietal bottle.
Yeah.
Okay.
Single grape.
You know, on the label it will say Merlot or it will say Cabernet Sauvignon. It may contain other things, we don't know, but we know that really it should just contain that.
And unlikely to have a lot of Touriga Nacional in there. Very good. Good idea. Thank you, Gary. Hopefully we will remember that. Michael, you wanted to add something there?
No, I actually thought Johnny was jumping in and say, I'll do that one.
But if John does want to do it, that's fine.
Johnny should do it. I second it. I second that. Johnny, you should do it.
Yeah, go with it, man. Absolutely.
Okay, very good.
You choose.
Here are some ideas for us to talk about in the lock-in. Nope. Beer industry is suffering. Young people around the world are drinking less booze. What is wrong with them?
What's wrong with them? This is exactly what the problem is with this new generation.
Yeah,
they haven't been out with Ben.
Some kids just aren't raised right.
And we'll also be talking about Frankie's shirt. So we'll see you a little bit, in a month's time, and we'll see all of you, the Wine Ninjas, in a few minutes' time. Thank you for joining us tonight. Ciao for now.
Ciao.